This.
Chapter 1.
Good. We're going to go now to this. Okay, like I said yesterday. Theophrastus. What did that guy do with such an awesome name?
He recorded the names of plants and arranged them.
Good for you. We finished up here yesterday. We talked about different crops for food, beverage, fiber industry. Anybody remember? What would be a crop for food?
Corn.
Corn? Great.
Potato.
What about one for beverage?
Water.
Water a plant?
You can harvest it.
It's in plants. You can say corn again, right? High fructose corn syrup? Beverages.
I usually don't drink that.
Fiber. Give me a fiber plant.
Corn.
Probably not as much. I'd say cotton more so. Okay, that would definitely be one for fiber. Industry, we know timber and wood would be. And oil, what's an oil crop? Corn oil, there is, yeah. What else though? What's one of our most important ones, Taylor? What's the most important oil crop?
Vegetable oil.
Okay, that's vegetable oil. What is the crop?
Soybean.
Soybeans, right? Yeah, very good. Okay, so today you're gonna be able to describe how agriculture uses various formal and informal, scientific and non-scientific classifications. Who kind of started this process? We're gonna then discuss the importance of the taxonomic system. Talk about one guy that really revolutionized this, and then we'll see if we get into these last ones as well. Really, kind of those two last ones kind of are gonna set the stage for the rest of the chapter. We stopped on. Where?
The second slide. Or third.
That guy?
Right there.
We stopped there?
Yeah.
I don't think we did.
I didn't write this, so.
Oh. Okay.
You can move on.
Okay, next one here.
Is it running?
Can I look?
Hey.
Oh, you're using it.
Yeah, we're going
I'm
through
being
lesson.
serious. I want to get your truck done.
Okay, what do you need?
Air filter. We figured out the car, did something. I'm not gonna tell you what, but we did something. And now we need an air filter.
So what is,
Just,
well, I don't have one.
I know,
So you got it.
just like a normal round chrome air filter, like
Okay,
you see on all the muscle parts. You need one of those to clean it.
okay.
It's gotta be.
So what's wrong with what'd you do to the carburetor?
Well, we replaced this, there's a little flat piece that's got the screw running up through the top.
Mm-hmm.
And so we put that on there. And we got that figured out. Now we just need an air filter for the top.
Okay. Sounds good. Work on the heater now. Because I don't have an air filter with me.
You don't. There's no way to do the heater either.
Why?
It's broke.
Then.
We are not heater
Fix it.
guys. We are engine people. And
Guess what?
occasionally, when you end up with a dent, you might end up with another one.
That's your mission for the rest of the class, I guess. Get
Oh.
the heater going. Get the blower to work.
Fair.
Hook up the cords.
The seats.
Okay, our next one here. Yeah, get the back of the seat on too.
Yeah, we don't have bolts for it.
Well,
Make them.
Buy some.
That's what Scott said. I don't know how to make a bolt.
okay. The bolts are there. Use some of his. Get it on. I don't care what you use. Okay. Now we're going to get into taxonomy. Theophrastus. Yes, he did that. Started to record names and arrange groups of plants based upon growing habitats and visible features. Problem with it was, though, whatever name that he gave these plants, it was mainly local. So people across kind of the country or whatever may not use that same name. But he did start that whole classification process.
You didn't do that much, though.
He did. He did all right. It says, plants can actually be classified in different many ways. Phylogenetically, how they look. Environmentally, where plants grow. Agriculturally, what the plant is used for or grown for. And then natural, morphologically, how plant structure compares to other plants. Okay, agriculturally, what is corn really grown for?
Food.
Yeah, food for livestock. That's really a big thing. Yes, humans do eat a lot. Humans do eat some of the corn that's in the field, but most of the corn we eat is really more of a sweet corn variety, not the stuff that's
Well, we eat the stuff.
produced out here.
We eat the animals that eat the corn.
Darn right
So
we
we-
do. So
we
indirectly
eat the
we eat the corn. You're correct. Okay. So those would be different. That's kind of a start of taxonomy, how plants can be classified.
Oops, where are we even at?
Slide 16.
Right after Theophrastus. That's where we ended. Theophrastus.
He's an alright guy.
Well, then-
Nothing too special.
Okay.
He definitely wasn't very talkative.
He looks like he's a pretty nice guy.
He was nice, but he didn't talk to him.
That's true.
Neither do you.
Okay, it also talks about here. Systematics or taxonomy is an organizational system for descriptive classification of plants. Nomenclature is a system of assigning names to plants. The rules for assigning names to plants are established by the International Rule of Botanical Nomenclature, Botanical Plant Science. That's really what that is. So,
Go back a second.
oh, sorry. So again, taxonomy is this organizational system for descriptive classification of plants. Nomenclature is a system of assigning names to plants. So we're going to learn about this guy, and he really kind of created this binomial nomenclature, which would be two naming system, which what we use today. Scientific name for humans is what?
Animals.
No.
I'm not even sure.
What's scientific name for humans?
Let's start with the B.
H.
Individual.
Homo sapiens.
Homo sapiens. That'd be the scientific name. Capital, the H is capitalized. Like this here. These are a couple we talked about today. You have Milo. Okay. Or I guess another name for Milo is sorghum. They're a little bit different. It would be sorghum bicolor.
Was that ours?
Yeah, you better have that. I've been waiting on that. Yes, ask your dad if he has. Okay,
Yeah, weird.
this would be Milo or sorghum.
Sorghum.
That crop would be used for,
What about
if you
broom
classified it for use, it could be like corn, it would be a
corn?
carbohydrate.
Broom corn.
Right?
Broom corn, is that another name for it?
That would maybe be used more to make brooms? The shucks or what?
Broom corn, look at that. I searched up sorghum bicolor. Broom corn.
Oh,
There's no name for it.
I guess should be. I've never really heard that term before. but-
Now you
All right, next here. There's some other different ways that plants can be classified. Artificial classification, there's two of them that the book talks about. Climatic systems and agricultural systems, okay? So we got these vocab terms here. It says, climatic systems and agricultural systems are artificial classification systems. Climatic systems depends on the environment in which a plant grows. For example, temperate zone versus tropical zone. The term mesic in our book stands for temperate zone, and xeric stands for tropical zone. Those are two vocab words you'll have a quiz on. Mesic and xeric. Mesic, temperate zone. Xeric, tropical zone. Climatic zones can also depend on the seasons in which plants grow. For example, spring versus summer, autumn versus or summer versus autumn crops, warm season versus cool season. When have you guys ever heard of that? Think about you. Maybe you've helping mow this summer. Did you ever talk about different types of grasses?
Yes.
Did you? Did he ever use the terms cool season versus warm season grasses?
No. Not that technical looks.
A lot of people in, especially not a ton of pasture around here, but but pasture is important around here too. But a lot of native plants, you could call them warm season or cool season. Some grow better in the cooler season months. like especially I think of my lawn in April time when it could be cool outside but it's raining, my grass in the back grows pretty tall if I don't get out there and mow it because it's a Kentucky bluegrass. It's a warm season grass or cool season grass. Okay. So that's what I think of warm season, cool season grass is that
What-
grasses
what's
grow.
buffalo grass?
Buffalo grass is probably more of a warm season grass. Native grass here in Nebraska can grow summertime when it's warmer. Agricultural systems, it says, depends on the system used for production. Agronomic crops versus horticultural crops. Give me the difference. Milo, would that be an agronomic crop or a horticultural crop?
Ag.
Agronomic. Okay, give me some other examples of agronomic crops. Corn, what else?
Beans.
Soybeans, what else?
Wheat.
That would kind of be more of an oil crop too. Wheat? Okay. Give me an example of a horticultural crop, Kennedy.
A horticultural corn.
Sweet corn could probably be. What else?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes would be a horticultural crop. Think of horticulture as more of ones maybe out in your garden, compared to agronomy would be more of a
Potatoes.
productive
Mm.
production ag one. Potatoes can be horticultural. There you
What about never mind.
go. Okay.
Harry Groma.
That would probably that could be that would be a native plant. That could be prairie grass. Could be an agronomic crop, I'd say more so.
Nice.
I would probably fit that in there. That could be more agronomy. Then if you wanted to get it more specific, crop plants would be like corn and soybeans. But that grass would probably not be a crop plant. That'd be my
You
guess.
could harvest it.
Yeah, as prairie grass, and then you feed it to your cows.
I don't know about prairie grass.
Yeah, that's why he said it.
Yep.
Ornamental. Give me an example of an ornamental plant.
What is that definition?
Ornamental. What would be an ornamental plant? What are some plants people plant ornamentally?
Would it be the poinsettias?
Poinsettias, flowers would be. You could also have different shrubs and bushes be ornamental. So that's what the agronomic or the artificial classification, climate and agricultural systems would be. Okay. Botanical systems, it says, a botanical system was first developed by Theophrastus. He classified plants by the gross morphology, or specifically morphology meaning the structure of the plant. Okay, this says specifically form, size, texture, and use. Okay, he is considered the father of botany for these contributions. So, let's see. Has anybody ever? Okay, this was my idea here. So Theophrastus' idea was skewed because of, okay, things in an area could be form, size, texture, and use. They could be the same sort of deal, but they're going to be called something different, okay? And if people, or maybe they have the same name, but they're totally different. So this was my example in the last class, okay? Has anybody ever heard of a kolache?
We already discussed.
They're amazing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
What the
whoa, whoa,
heck
whoa,
are
whoa,
you
whoa,
saying?
what?
It depends
She
what-
doesn't know what she's saying. I
It depends
understand.
what
She hasn't had my grandmother.
Kolaches are amazing.
Yeah, I
Now,
was at a poppy seed
When you think of a kolache, this is what, do you think of this?
No, that's awful. Get it away. Yes.
Do you think of this as a kolache?
Yeah.
I was thinking
Okay.
of a hot dog one.
Now, people in Texas, when you say kolache, because this happened to me, visited my cousin, he lives in Dallas, and we were down there, and he said, yeah, for breakfast, I'll just go down and grab some kolaches. So that's great. So when he got the kolaches, you know, I'm thinking of this pastry that I'm looking forward to, cherry
Yeah, I know,
kolache,
right?
nothing better. All of a sudden, this is what he comes out with,
That was good.
which does, they're super good. But it was just different, right? So this is kind of the idea of,
That's called a pig in a blanket.
that's what I would know it as. But see, to me, I mean, that would be that example. is what Theophrastus. If he says, "Oh, that's a kolache," well, kolaches are different to different people. I guess, do people call that a kolache? Yeah, look at that. Easy sausage and egg breakfast kolache. Sorry, that's good. I didn't eat dinner. But there'd be my example.
You didn't eat dinner or lunch?
Dinner, lunch, I say are the same. Okay. So he is considered the father of botany. Did a lot of research in that for his contributions, but this next guy really revolutionized the taxonomy or the naming system, the classification system. And his name, Carl Linnaeus or Linnaeus, he developed this binomial nomenclature. Okay, devised a system categorizing plants, which was published in 1732 as Hortus Uplandicus.
What?
Uplandicus. There we go. That sounds better. Later, his study was enlarged to 935 genres called Genera Planetarium. The system is mostly based on flowering structure of the plants. Much of his taxonomy continues today, and his work has led to modern taxonomic systems and nomenclature of plants. Okay? So he created binomial nomenclature, 2 naming system, which we'll talk about today. There he is. What a smart-looking guy.
What a wig.
Why did they have those wigs?
Felt cool.
That's because
Look
they...
a lot better than what we
So then they can mop after they were.
No, because I think lice was a pretty bad problem. So then they just shaved their heads so they wouldn't get lice, and then they just had wigs. So, all right, the last part there talks about, yes,
Did Mr. Stewie teach you that?
divisions. I don't know. Okay, our next part, it says divisions here, which is what we'll start with here. The plant kingdom traditionally was divided into 2 large groups, or subkingdoms, based mainly on reproductive structure. So this is the plant kingdom. The thallophytes and the embryophytes. So these were the 2 main kingdoms that they were first classified as. So the thallophytes would lack true root systems, and they were something like maybe a fungus or an algae. The embryophytes, like it shows there, would be a vascular plant. Okay? Vascular plants have true roots, stems, and leaves. And if we read about the vascular plants, it also says this. The subkingdom Embryobiontis composed of 2 groups, the bryophytes, liverwort and moss, division of Bryophyta, which has no vascular systems. But the Bryophyta, like other non-vascular principal structure, blah, blah, blah. Okay, go to vascular plants now. Okay? Vascular plants have true roots, stems, and leaves, and a well-developed vascular system. You guys have any idea what consists of the vascular, or what does a vascular system in plants consist of?
Water.
True, water's flowing through them, but what are the 2 main, essentially, what is your vascular system if you were a plant? What would it compare to? Humans, what's our vascular system?
Veins.
Our veins, right? In plants, there's 2 things, the phloem and the xylem, which we'll talk about later. But those are the transportation system of water and food throughout the plant. Okay? So, with these there definitely were plants that didn't fit there, so they had to come up with some different ways to, some different divisions and ways to classify plants, which is what we got here. Okay? We have 4 divisions. The Psilotophyta, Lycopodiophyta, and the Equisetiophyta. What's equine?
Horse tails.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Horses. Isn't that funny? There's another one that they talked about is the Rhiniophyta, but they're extinct. Okay?
Awesome.
Says the remaining divisions include dominant vegetation of the earth. So we have, I'm not going to make you remember all of this stuff, okay? But I want you to understand that essentially this is how they classified them, but they had to reclassify them and get some other divisions in order to fit all plants into there, which we're going to kind of break down into what we're going to get to here, which we'll keep going. There's some by a few plants today. Here's some other divisions of today, which are the remaining plants. Does anybody remember how many plants today are of that embryo?
500,000.
There's 500,000 plants, but how many are known to have seeds?
Half.
It was like, what, 2/3 now? And if you remember, what was about, okay, the flowering plants date back about 120 million years ago. Today, flowering plants total about 2/3 of all plants, which is what we're going to be getting into, our flowering plants here. So here are some of the other divisions of the vegetative plants today. Polypodiophyta are the ferns. Pinophyta are cone-bearing gymnosperms. And Magnoliophyta are true flowering plants or angiosperms. Okay? So their work is being furthered now and really getting into our taxonomy we know today. Did you get this? I'm going to break down two different parts to a term, and then we're going to break it down two different ways. Okay, because collectively, that's what we're going to talk about next. Gymnosperms and angiosperms are collectively known as spermatophytes or seed plants. So let's break spermatophytes down into these categories. Gymnosperms, naked seeded plant. So the seed is just out there and it's naked. It doesn't have anything covering it. An example would be a cone-bearing tree or conifers or pine trees. Okay, they have cones. They bear cones. The other term is angiosperms. And angiosperms have flowers and seeds that always are protected by fruits. Give me an example of a plant that you know of that's protected by, that their seeds protected by fruit. Tomatoes would be an angiosperm, yes. Anything else?
Banana.
What?
Banana.
Banana?
Yes.
I guess it would be protected by the peel, sir. That could be. Yeah.
Where's the seed at?
It's bottom, isn't it? I believe it's very bottom. So that would be angiosperms. Gymnosperms, angiosperms. Here's a picture example. Gymnosperm, cone-bearing. Yes, it is a pine cone.
Good.
The seeds of pine cones are actually right here. They're not protected. At one time they may have been protected, but the cone opens up and then the seeds are dispersed right there. Angiosperms would be any sort of flowering plant. Okay? Seeds could be protected by a fruit. So there's all sorts of different types of gymnosperms, it says there, but we're going to break down angiosperms just a little bit more next, which is monocots and dicots. Okay? Monocots and dicots.
This is the last thing.
What time do we got?
We have like 20 minutes
It's not
left.
called
No.
monocots. What is it?
I want to get
Did
to
you
you
say
guys to
one
where you're gonna do something for me tomorrow. But if we don't have much left. It'll be fine.
Did you
What?
say the whole word?
Monocotyledonate or dicotyledonate. Or you can simplify them as monocotyledon and dicotyledon. Okay. Our term, one of our terms we have is a cotyledon. Does anybody know what that is?
A cotyledon.
These divisions, monocotyledon and dicotyledon, are based on the number of cotyledons or seed leaves the plants have. So it's the first initial seed leaves. Dicotyledons have 2 seed leaves, monocotyledons have 1. An example of a monocot is corn. An example of a dicotyledon is soybeans. Okay? I got these 2 next pictures that'll really show it to you. Monocots, and a lot of grasses are monocots. All right, and there's something else I want you to put here. I want you to put something right after monocotyledon and dicotyledon. They kind of also classify with different root structures as well. Anybody know what the difference between a fibrous root is and a taproot?
Taproot goes straight down.
Yeah, taproot would really just be one big thing like this. So here's my ground, here's my flower, awesome, my plant would really just be one single root. It definitely has some hairs coming out of it, but it's one single root. Fibrous root, though, would be made up of small, hair-like, lots of numerous roots. So my question is, think of grasses and corn, think of soybeans. Which one is known for growing tap roots, and which one is known for growing, I saw it wrong. And which one is known for growing fibrous roots? Huh?
Corn would be fibrous.
Corn would be fibrous. Very good. So monocotyledons would be fibrous roots. I want you to write this down. Fibrous roots. And, oh man, soybeans would be tap roots. So essentially what we're saying is monocots are fibrous, dicots are tap roots. Okay? So think about that. Now, I don't think this holds true for every plant, but it is kind of a good connection here because mainly grasses are fibrous.
Did you know that bananas are fibrous?
Are they?
That's what it says.
Say bananas. Nice.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. All
You
right,
should grow
everybody get this?
bananas in the greenhouse.
We could try to germinate them, yeah.
Am I gonna have any homework tomorrow?
For animal science, I don't know yet. Depends on what we get done today. All right. So here's my example of monocot, dicot. Monocot, think of a grass. It is going to come out of the field. They are a little tougher than dicots. It's one single seed leaf. It pushes out of the soil like this, just like it is. It's folded. It pushes out easier. Dicots, though, our next picture, they have to kind of unfold. So they kind of, there's two seed leaves. They kind of have to unfold and then they open up. All right? They unfold and open up. A lot of times, like this spring, we had rain and then it got really dry and it kind of crusted on top of fields. Okay? That can happen. And then that's why farmers have to take their, they put their pivots on because they want to loosen up that soil because sometimes soybeans can't get out of the ground too easy because of their dicots. They're kind of weaker compared to corn can just push right up through the soil. So that's the difference between monocot and dicot. Corn, soybeans, they are both, monocot and dicot are what? They're all angiosperms. Angiosperms and gymnosperms, or what's the term that they're under? The division? Spermatophytes. Good job. Spermatophytes, gymnosperm, angiosperm. Angiosperm can be broken down. Monocot, dicot. We named some plants for each of them. Okay, last couple things here. Here are our lower subdivisions. We have life, domain, kingdom. Do you guys remember what are the kingdoms we talked about at the beginning of the chapter? We talked about plant kingdom, animal kingdom, the mycota, the monera, the protista. Okay, all those are the kingdoms. Underneath that, then there's more classification and different subdivisions. So here is just the rest of them. Life, domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. And here is what I'm going to have you work on tomorrow. You're going to pick some different varieties or cultivars. So once we know there's a genus and species, right? So give me a species of a plant. Or corn. Is all corn genetically the same?
No.
No, especially in this day and age. Seed corn's huge, and it's all different varieties or cultivars, okay? That's the term, and that's what you guys are going to be working on tomorrow. And I'll explain your project in a second. Okay, we talked about Linnaeus, what he did with this binomial nomenclature. Genus, species, 2 words, 2 names, and that's what he did. So for instance, around the world, we know what this means. What is that? Z-maze. Or is it spelled? It's not spelled that way.
Talking about corn.
Corn. All right, very good. What was, this is that, I just had this one up here. Hordeum vulgare. Capital letter, okay, that's what we need to know too. In the binomial nomenclature, the genus always has a capital letter. It's capitalized and species is not. So Hordeum vulgare would be worldwide known as barley, I believe. Look up soybean, scientific name. I forgot what that one is.
Gleason Max.
Is it like this?
Gleason Max.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the binomial nomenclature. Genus, species. Linnaeus, he was the one that kind of started that. And they're just easier. Only 2 words. Okay, the last thing, in terms of, oh wait, I want to read this one thing quick about cultivars, okay? Okay, binomial nomenclature. Each plant has a 2-word binomial name. Genus, species, a third name is often given to the authority who named it. Most names are given in agriculture for the cultivar name. Binomial nomenclature is a scientific system of giving a double name to each plant or animal. The first or genus name is followed by a descriptive or species name. Modern plant classifications or taxonomy are based on a system of binomial nomenclature developed by none other than Swedish physician Carl Linnaeus. Prior to Linnaeus, people had tried to base classifications on leaf shape, size, flower color, and other features. None of the systems proved workable. The revolutionary approach of Linnaeus was to base classification on flower or reproductive parts of the plant and to give plants a genus and species name, which is the binomial 2-name nomenclature, naming system, taxonomy. Other subgroup names can be the botanical variety or the cultivar. Botanical variety is a plant subgrouping with inheritable differences from general species. Cultivar came from the combination of the words cultivated and variety. Cultivars are genetically true through propagation, presenting a strong set of characteristics or attributes. If propagated asexually by cuttings, which you guys did a lot of that, you cut them and then you put them into the soil, they are said to be clones or genetically identical. Cultivar names have always been capitalized but not italicized. Cultivars may be purebred. Hybrid lines are made from cross that yield predictably same progeny, yada, yada, yada. And now there's more research into the taxonomy by chemical analysis, protein analysis of this DNA. DNA analysis is big. So, for your guys' project tomorrow, let's think about this. Give me an example. Okay, we talked about corn. Give me another example of a plant. We're talking about different varieties, not species, because a corn would be a species of plants. Sorghum would be a species. Milo would, or barley would be a species. Those are species. Give me an example of another species of plant. Okay, that's a great one. All right.
There's a lot of different.
Bingo. There's not a different what?
A lot of different species.
Nope, not species. Apples are the species.
I mean,
What would be the term? What would be the term? You just went over it. Still up on the board here. Oh, wait. Right here, it's on the board. Not form.
Variety.
Great, the cultivar, right? The variety and yes. Okay. So I will show you what your project is going to be here. And let me close this out here. Stop sharing. Okay, good.